And we are live. What is up, everybody? Aaron the dog back with Bunny, Boston Comments herself, for another UFC breakdown. It's UFC breakdown Santos versus Johnny Walker, or Walker, whichever you prefer. But obviously, the first thing I want to get out of the way is why Bryan is not joining us. First of all, we got 11 people joining us. Thank you all for joining us from the jump here. Awesome start. Thank you for everybody who checked out the Bellator breakdown, which is going down tomorrow with Lewis of Northern MMA up. But real quick, I just want to get a little with Bryan out of the way. Bryan is still part of the show. His wife is getting ready to give birth to Miles pretty much any minute now at this point. The latest update was, LOL, I don't know what's going on. She's going through it. She's okay. She's happy and healthy. I'll keep you posted. I miss it. But he's obviously focused on the thing that matters right now, and not on the breakdown for this week. So he'll be back soon. But no, definitely no consolation here. I'm here with my favorite fellow host, Bunny. How you doing, Bunny?
I'm fantastic. Baby Bryan is gonna be so fucking cute, little Miles. Oh, he's gonna be the cutest fucking kid ever.
He's gonna be a savage as well. So yeah, all the best to Bryan and his wife. But yeah, I'm broadcasting from my mom's basement right now. Bunny from Studio B. So definitely a little bit of a change of scenery, but the same show here as always. So thank you everybody for joining. Miz, good to see you. Elliot, good to see you. Tony, Justin. Brandon, good to see you as well. Josh was his dog of the night. That's great. Good for you with Cage Warriors that just took place on Fight Pass. You can go ahead and just watch that on Fight Pass after this if you didn't know that was going on, because there was some really good fights today. I hit the last two dogs on the card, so good start to the weekend. Thamaris, great to see you here as well.
Thamaris, baby, what's going on, girl? She's a legend. You got what, 10 out of 11 picks last time, or 10 out of 10?
I did. Yeah. It was. I did miss one, and I actually happened to be at the show as well. Went down to 266. I felt like that was like forever ago, but yeah, that was this past weekend. It was absolute blast, as always. And I think a fight of the year contender between Volkanovsky and Ortega. I think that was way better than Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar, for example, because it was still a domination by Volkanovsky, but there were moments, obviously. Third round is going to be a legendary round forever. I was there live. I was waving my hands during a few of those chokes. I really did think they were completely sunk in. What was it like from your perspective, watching with the commentary and everything? I'm curious, because I didn't, and then I'll go into mine.
From the mere mortal perspective?
Yeah, I want to know from the mortal perspective. Yeah, and then I'll tell you what it's like from Olympus.
Aaron was in section 209. I don't think anybody gets the
section Stockton
situation. I can't stop talking about it. I think that's amazing. From a mere mortal perspective, I was watching on my phone, right? So
yeah, I forgot you were watching on your phone.
I was at a wedding event, so I was
right. Yeah, a wedding event.
I was like,
oh my! A wedding event, also known as a wedding, for those mere mortals, but everything's an event. Everything's an event with the publicist. Yeah, it was crazy. One of the craziest things, though, were people were leaving after the second round. More people left after the third round. I'm telling you, one of the most bizarre things about going to an event is how late people show up and how early people leave. It is almost like, why are you here? I was the first one into the. I was the first one into the stadium or into the arena. Literally the first one. Of course, I sat down. I might have had a pen with me or some sort of writing utensil, and I parked there for the next 7 hours. It was a fantastic time. Yeah, I mean, I've gone to 2 events this year. I've been lucky enough to go to 2. Might be going to 1 more towards the end of the year as well. I don't like to jinx things before they happen. I just want to make sure. But yeah,
might be.
The thing I like about what's that?
Did you say might be going?
Oh, I just yeah, you know.
What is it about?
I think
it was like a sure thing.
No, I don't believe in sure things. I don't like to count the chickens before they hatch. I like to nurture the eggs and make sure that they get to the proper point to where they can be born and become chickens. If I hatch them now, like they might make it, but like I'm trying to make sure these chickens hatch. So
that's it. People sleep on the prelims, and oftentimes I'm not.
But just real quick, I won't go into a huge rant about this, but it is I'm okay with people not being there for the prelims. You get a whole different type of live experience. It was really cool for the Nate Diaz fight and for the other, for the Shevchenko fight, a little bit less of a crowd. But honestly, the people's main event was the Diaz Lawler fight. I just want to talk about that real quick. Nick Diaz was outstanding. I'm really kind of confused, although not surprised, to take a phrase from the Diaz's here. I'm not surprised by the reaction to people who just don't seem to understand how hard it is to get hit repeatedly by a guy like Robbie Lawler. The fact that I think in the first round, Nick Diaz landed 70 significant strikes, through over 100 strikes in the first round. I mean people are saying the strikes looked ugly. Show me a fight where Diaz strikes look pretty. That is just people who don't understand what they were seeing. Yeah. Like, what were your thoughts on that fight?
I thought, again, he's fucking 38 years old, and he's been so inactive. I don't know what people expected. And that's why, like, why are you trying to analyze this fight and make bets and predictions like it's any other fight, dude? It's been 17 years since their rematch. Lawler has been active. He might have been losing, but he was active, and he's also in way better shape. And his face was a little bruised up, and he even said himself he was impressed. He was like, Nick Diaz did not quit.
They're both throwing. Yeah, they're throwing, and the shots that put Nick away were legitimate. I mean, he absolutely, like, Robbie Lawler hits hard. Robbie Lawler has knocked out Rory McDonald in the 5th round. Robbie Lawler has knocked out a ton of people. And I just thought that's one of the best legend fights I've ever seen. Typically, these legend fights, they fight like, it's just like, oh, that, like, I want to see Nick Diaz again if he wants to fight somebody. Absolutely. And if he doesn't, I'm also okay. But I'm just saying, like, I didn't think that he looked unqualified to be in there.
I agree.
At all.
The same thing. And I know Dana, I'm love-hate with Dana. I have a lot of respect about him, and then I have a lot of hate towards him. But he was like, I don't know what you're all hating for him. Like, the man's 38. He looked phenomenal for what he was going. And
it's just like, frankly, I know this is going to sound really weird, but I wish more fighters.
Versus Cerrone, hell yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many good fights to make with Nick with proper matchups. Like, I would definitely watch Nick versus Cerrone. Absolutely. Like, as usual, I don't agree with Justin. I don't agree with Justin almost ever. So it's thank God he doesn't want to see Diaz, because I do. And just real quick, Shevchenko. Good Lord. Good Lord. Watching that, and I just sat there in stunned silence because I was like, because I decided before the fight to count the amount of strikes Lauren Murphy was going to land in the fight. I was on 2 hands, less than 2 hands for the first 2 rounds. I had 4 fingers up after the first 2 rounds, and I was like, hold up, am I just missing something? And I checked. I had missed 1 significant strike. She had 5 significant strikes to the first 3 rounds, or 2 rounds. I mean, it was just Valentina. I've gotten to see Valentina's last 2 performances. I got to see her against Jessica Andrade. I got to see her against Lauren Murphy. And I was like, after the Andrade fight, I was like, I can't see something more dominant. I think that was more dominant because there is such an underrated thing to defense, which is why there's such a problem with how Bryan Ortega keeps fighting, which we're about to get to. Yeah. But Shevchenko does not get hit ever. She just doesn't get hit. She's not gotten hit since the Nunes fight, I'm pretty sure. I just checked the stats. Yep, she has not gotten hit since that fight. Literally untouchable. And it's just like, that's how you get the fight for a very long time. And then she just picks her moment and she blitzes, and it's whether it's the takedowns or the strikes, like she's got everything. Clearly, I'm talking about Valentina. We'll be talking about Antonina tonight, so don't worry.
There's much to talk about there, though. I gotta tell you.
But yeah, I mean, Valentina. It's just like, who's next for her besides Nunes? I don't know. But I don't think there's anybody at this moment that makes sense to put against her. And Nunes is gonna just probably not take that fight, I would think. So yeah, Lauren Murphy ended up with 11 significant strikes in 17 minutes. That's not great. And those significant strikes, you can put air quotes around significant, because that just means they touched. So it's like, whoa, mark it down, dude. She fucking touched her. She touched the mummy. It's like the bride of the pharaoh or whatever in the beginning of the Mummy with the paint on her. You could put paint on Valentina at the beginning of the fight, and it wouldn't be marked. It would just be like, it's unbelievable. Yeah, 0.64 strikes per minute landed by Lauren Murphy. And I love Lauren Murphy, too. I think she has worked so hard to get to that point, and it's just there's a huge difference in the top of the 145 division, which we're about to talk about. The top of the 125 division appears to be one person. The top of the 135 division appears to be one person. Top of 185 appears to be two people, maybe three people. Top of 205, I don't know what's going on with 205 at this point, if I'm being honest. We've got a 41-year-old and I think a 46-year-old getting ready to fight for the title. So what the hell? Heavyweight, I think there's like two or three. Heavyweight, I think there's like two or three. But yeah. Either way, it's very interesting. Then just real quick, the 145 to get right back to that. Yeah, Alexander Volkanovsky. People finally are aware this guy's good. 21 straight fights. This guy's good. And fighting.
It took this long for people to recognize.
Took this long for most people because there's a misunderstanding to when you fight close against the best fighter in the division and Max Holloway twice and beat him still. Beat him twice.
So annoying, though.
And here's the crazy part is Volkanovsky knows he has to beat him again. Yes. Even though he's beat him twice, he knows he has to beat him again for people to shut up. And like, he's not shying away from it. He's not trying to politic. He's not trying to say, I want to fight Sean O'Malley. The way he handled the Conor McGregor question, I think was perfectly fine because he knows Conor's not coming to 145. And he said, this is my division. He's talking about taking a fight at 155 to stay active because he wants to fight Max Holloway, but he wants to stay active. But his fight at 155 is going to be a fight where it's just a fight he takes that it's going to be a fun type of fighter. So I think a lot more people like Alexander Volkanovsky after this. Bryan Ortega, defense, buddy. Defense. I don't mean to rain on the parade here, but he has taken like 500 plus strikes in his last three fights. And
someone online said CTE City, and I almost lost it.
Yeah, CTE City. He was so much bigger structurally than Volkanovsky, but strength-wise, that pop was not there from which Volkanovsky brought up at the press conference, failing a drug test. And I just think that, yeah, when you do drugs and you fail a drug test, it's not a good look. And he's taken some beatings here against the top in the division. I think Bryan Ortega will have a lot of trouble if he goes up to 155 as well. And 145, he's going to have to take off another year. This is why he's so inactive, is his defense. He puts on exciting fights, but he doesn't move his head at all, and he just keeps taking shots, and he's going to be less and less durable, and he's only 30 years old. So, yeah, I mean, Volkanovsky looked excellent. I don't know how he survived those chokes in the third round. I've looked up the fight medic breaking it down. Like, I've just looked up everything. I think it is some of the most fascinating escapes ever because he should have beat Volkanovsky in those positions. He beats everybody else in the division who's stuck in those same positions. I guarantee it. I think literally Volkanovsky is the only guy who would have gotten out of that.
I agree. I think everyone else would have tapped.
Yeah, or gone to sleep, like not even a choice. Like it is, he had all 3 arteries locked up, and he's the best in the world, or one of the best in the world at that. And he had 2 different forms. When he got the Dars choke caught, that was really, I mean, I was just, I really don't understand how, like, it's just like, and it, you know, it's
Volk was like, I really thought it was over. Like, he's like,
right.
I don't know how I escaped.
I mean, his legs were flailing like Tim Elliott's were in that one guillotine.
Out of his neck, like he
was purple. He was purple.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, it's just like, that was, it's just, I haven't gone back and rewatched the fight yet, but I'm really excited to after this breakdown.
You haven't? I've watched it like 15 times.
I just like was kind of in a state of bliss afterwards, but yeah, the whole card was really fantastic. Shout out to Jalen Turner also. That was my other extreme highlight of the night.
Yeah, dude, what's up?
Seriously, awesome performance against Eurosmetic. Came in as one of my dogs. Again, 10 of 11. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And yeah, Volkanovsky ending up going 50-44 on one of the cards at the end was still kind of crazy. You know, the 3rd round he arguably could have won because he almost finished it at the end of the 3rd round. I thought it was over because Bryan Ortega couldn't get up after the 3rd round. Frankly, his corner should have thrown in the towel, but we ended up getting a really great fight. But it should have been over there. Like, you've got to protect your fighter at a certain point. But yeah, just
look
awesome.
Justin's trying to be sweet now.
Yeah. Justin, you're already the heel of the program. You can't come back from it now. It's too late. No matter how much you simp. But anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to use the S word. We allow that here. It's all good. I'm a simp.
Make a post that we're live, but I'm distracted.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm always distracted. But yeah, that's a little recap of 266. I know I'm probably forgetting a few things as well, but yeah, it was a great night. I look forward to when my next event is, and I think it's going to be a great one whenever that is. So let's go ahead and jump into the breakdown here. September is Hispanic Heritage Month. So that's all I need you to say on it, Brandon. I don't need you to say I don't need you to say anything else on Hispanic Heritage Month.
Please don't. It's also today is Indigenous Orange Shirt Day, so look that up. And Aaron's in an orange room. That means something.
Exactly.
More about it.
I painted the room for today, but we're getting into the event going down on Saturday from the UFC Apex, all of it taking place on ESPN Plus. 13 fights as of now. It should be a good one. I'm never going to say it should be a bad one, so I get it. Like, that doesn't mean a ton coming from me, but I mean it every time. Going to start here at the bantamweight division with a fight between Alejandro Turbo Perez and I thought this guy had retired like 5 or 6 years ago. Johnny Eduardo is still fighting. Good to know. We're going to be breaking down this fight. Johnny Eduardo, 41 years old now, taking on the 32-year-old Alejandro Perez. Alejandro Perez, 21-8-1, 28-12, coming back for Johnny Eduardo. So 40 fights for the 41-year-old. Maybe because he's 41, he wanted to get to 41 fights, I guess. I don't know. But currently on a 2-fight losing streak for the Brazilian 5'7", 71-inch reach, fighting out of Nova União in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Last 2 fights coming in 2017 and 2018. Lost to Matthew Lopez by knockout. Matthew Lopez has not fought since 2018. I believe he's been retired. And Nathaniel Wood, who's a good prospect and was a good prospect at that point as well. Nathaniel Wood ended up with a Darce choke to beat Johnny Eduardo. So he's been finished in each of his last 3 losses. His other loss coming to Aljamain Sterling, though, where he got submitted. His last 2 wins, Eddie Wineland and Manny Gambarian, which if you've heard of those names, you're an old school fan. That's great. But those aren't exactly relevant wins in 2021, to say the least. 41 years old, has not fought since June of 2018, so that's nearly 3.5 years off at this point. He's coming back and taking on a guy who's nicknamed Turbo, which isn't probably a great sign to come back to. Alejandro Perez, 21-8-1 for the Mexican fighter, fighting out of Entrum Gym in Mexico. 32 years old, 5'6", 67-inch reach, so going to have about 4-inch reach disadvantage. But I do think speed, wrestling, overall MMA, and cardio are going to be all on Alejandro's side. He was knocked out by Yadong Song in his last fight, which was about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. Yeah, it was a good fight. Not well, good fighter to lose to. It only lasted 2 minutes, but his fight with Cody Stamann, I think, was much better. He was able to wrestle with one of the best wrestlers outside of the top 15 in the division. He also has a win over Matthew Lopez. He knocked him out, and Matthew Lopez knocked out Eduardo. Has a win over Yuri Alcantara. I think that's a good comparison to Eduardo there. And in that fight, Perez was an underdog. I think that Alejandro Perez, faster, stronger, better cardio, not 41 years old, has fought in the last 3 years. I got Alejandro all day here to open up the card. I mean, Alejandro's not really known as a finisher. I think that getting the finish against a 41-year-old could do him pretty good favor for getting off of the opening card of the night moving forward. So I think a decision doesn't really help him too much here. So I think he kind of turns up the pace. I'm going to say Alejandro gets a finish.
Wow.
And I'll say a third round TKO of the 41-year-old Johnny Eduardo. So yeah, your thoughts on the fight, Bunny?
Wait, you saying you picked Perez by TKO?
Perez by TKO, third round, yes. Definitely not. I'm definitely not picking the 41-year-old Brazilian who hasn't fought in 3 years, who's lost his last two, who I thought was legit retired for the last 4 years. So,
I had to do some research to make sure that I was really reading 41.
I mean, just read off the last few wins of Eduardo, and they're like Manny Gamburian, Jeff Curran, like guys you just have not thought of in a very long time. I just gotta go. I like Perez. I'm a fan. 7-3-1 in the UFC. This is his 12th fight here. He's been off for a little bit of time, but he got a pretty bad knockout against Yadong Song. Yadong Song is much better. Yeah, Yadong Song's really good. So yeah, I like Perez inside the distance here. I'm gonna say third round though. I think it's gonna be kind of a good performance. So yeah, your thoughts?
That's interesting. You think we're gonna kick off prelims with a TKO? I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have as much faith in the finish as much as I would like to go for the finish. I have trouble going against Brazilians, but he's 41, so Perez by decision.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so we are in agreement. I'm loading up the odds here. Currently, I think Perez is a good parlay piece. Can't really bet him separate. Minus 250. However, inside the distance, we'll probably give him at a good plus money. Obviously. I will be betting him in the distance. I also think he's a good parlay piece. So I'll be betting both. Minus 250. You can get Johnny Eduardo plus 200. I just think that a lot of people are saying that 41-year-old isn't going to last 10 minutes. We'll see. I'm not going to completely discount Eduardo. He is a veteran of the game. He's got double-digit UFC fights going back. He's been around a while, and I just never discount guys who come back to fight. I think that sometimes you see a guy come back to fight and you're like, why did he come back? But often they really have a reason. So 3 years off, he had every reason to be, kind of out of the game, and he's coming back. So I just think Alejandro Perez is better. So I like him. I think he's a pretty reliable parlay piece.
Funny comment from Justin.
What do you say?
He said in Brazil, 41 is 33. Remember that.
Yeah, and then Cuba, it's 20. And then Cuba, it's 21. But next fight here, before I get canceled off YouTube, is at bantamweight in the women's division. Shannon Young taking on Stephanie Eggers. First of all, shout out to Many for showing up. Sorry, I didn't see you there, man. But
Many, don't bring up Sugar Sean Valley again, please. Please.
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why people bring up fighters Bunny hates to her so much. Typically, when I don't like fighters, I don't hear about them. So
nice. Must be nice, Aaron.
I'm just not as popular. What can I say? But Shayna Young and Stephanie Edgar, not Stephanie Eggers. Stephanie Edgar has one of those names you want to add an S to. It's singular. So there we go, right off the bat, 135 here. This one might be sizzling up a steak for. Not the most exciting fight of the night. 5-2 versus 7-3, 30-year-old Shayna Young against the 33-year-old Swiss Stephanie Edgar. I will be breaking down Stephanie Edgar first, 5'6", 68-inch reach versus the 5'7", 65-inch reach of Shayna Young. Stephanie Edgar, 5'2", came in on pretty short notice for her debut against Tracy Cortez. Put on a very good performance there, honestly. Tracy Cortez, really a good fighter when she's in there as well. Trying to make that cut to 125, I don't think will do Tracy any favors. But at 135, Tracy kept a really good pace in that fight. It was good grappling on both sides. Prior to that, was 5-1 as a pro, only losing a split decision in Invicta. Really, it looked good. Good judoka, good striker as well. Pretty good size for the division as well. Was supposed to fight Sarah Alpar back in May. Edgar had to withdraw, unknown why, but teed up against Shayna Young, kind of a similar type of grappler to Alper, so I don't really mind too much here. Shayna Young, 7-3, pretty much just a wrestler through and through. 5'7", 65-inch reach, as I mentioned before, coming off a loss to tough matchup in another short notice matchup against Macy Shaizan. Macy was just too large for her, honestly, so I'm a little surprised she's staying at 135. Really known as a wrestler, has a few submission finishes, has a finish over Jessica Borga, who is fighting in the co-main event of Bellator tomorrow against Leah McCourt, has a win over Pam Sorensen, another veteran of the game, so has some decent wins throughout her career for sure. It is a pick 'em. I'm going to go with Stephanie Edgar. I liked what I saw out of Edgar in her debut a lot more than what I saw of Shannon Young on the Contender Series and in her UFC debut. I just think there's a little bit of a size and strength difference on Edgar's side. I think the judo wins out over the wrestling. I do see this being a decision either way, so plenty of time to get that steak done. But Stephanie Edgar. Damn, I was doing so good by decision. I said it. Your thoughts on this fight, Bunny?
I feel like every steak fight I pick is a female fight, and I don't mean that. I can say that.
Nor do I.
As a female, but I think this is going to be weirdly more exciting than you think it is. I don't know why. I have a hunch from what I saw, and I actually have Young winning.
Nice.
I think a loss to Miranda Maverick is nothing to cry about. That girl is a savage.
Yeah.
What do I have here? I don't know. She's not as afraid to get hit, I feel like, and I don't know. I don't have as much faith in Edgar. So I'm going with Young. Definitely not going to be fight of the night, but I don't think it's the most steak fight on the card, to be honest.
Okay, all right. I like it. I like the little clap back there, and I think that they are matched up very well together. So part of why I think it could go to a decision. They're just more grappling centric, so this could end up on the feet. Young does have the experience advantage. It's closely odds, plus 110 for Shayna Young. You do have the underdog here, minus 130 on Stephanie Edgar. So yeah, we'll be talking a little bit during that fight now, a little bit extra emphasis on that fight, and maybe I hold off on the steak here. But yeah, I mean, both girls lost on short notice in their debut. One to Tracy Cortez, one to Macy Shaizan. I'm not sure either one is really anything to hang your head on. And yeah, they both have a full camp here. I just like Edgar. She has a lot of experience in other combat sports outside of with judo and a sambo background as well. So I think we see a better showing of her here. But we'll see. First disagreement.
Hunters in Invicta though, and I'm talking about Stephanie, was like so amateur, dude. Like both of them just look so amateur. I was like,
Yeah.
what? No, with no offense, I'm not a fighter, but I was watching and I was like, I gotta turn this off. I can't.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think she hopefully has come a long way from that. But I mean, Shayna Young didn't look great on her Contender Series bout either, or her debut. So we're not trying to compare here at all, but we'll see. Fair disagreement there. And best of luck to either side. I wouldn't suggest betting either side too heavily though. If that is your thing. Next fight is another bantamweight fight. So we start with 3 135 fights to start off here. We've got the Brazilian Douglas Silva de Andrade taking on the fighter out of Belgium, Gaetano Perello. I figured he was Italian when I saw that name, but apparently not. 29 years old, fought at 135 in his last fight, while Douglas Silva de Andrade fought at 145 in his last fight. Douglas Silva de Andrade now 36 years old, so that weight cut is the first thing I want to point out as a big X factor that I'm holding off on betting anything. If I am leaning on the Brazilian, I want to see the weigh-ins to make sure he's healthy. But Gaetano El Tigre, 15-6, currently on 1 fight losing streak out of Osman Gym in Belgium. Lost that fight to Ricky Simone. No shame there. That's a really tough debut to get. Ricky Simone looked like he was on all of the sauce, honestly, on that fight. I remember how phenomenal a shape he looked like he was in, and Ricky went out and Rickied. So, like, honestly, Gaetano, he's got good striking for sure. I mean, he came into UFC on a liver shot, albeit over a 7-5 opponent I've never heard of, in Enzo Maria Ezlezi, and then also had a doctor stoppage of a 6-4 opponent. But
stoppage.
Yeah, I mean, other than those, they're against pretty low level opponents. Has a lot of striking KOs, but it seemed when he was put on his back, lost to Arnold Allen, which there's no shame at all in that. I want to make that clear. But has a couple submission losses as well. He's kind of just the classic European striker to me, who doesn't quite have the wrestling or the grappling acumen. So when it's on the feet, good chance there. But even in this fight, I think it could be pretty tough. Just because Douglas Silva de Andrade is a beast. He's got some incredible wins at 135, including a decision win over Chito Vera, which if you haven't watched that fight, go back and watch that fight. It's tremendous. But yeah, I mean, the big X factor really is Douglas Silva de Andrade was not a big 135er. I mean, he was jacked, don't get me wrong, and very strong, but he went up to 145 because those cuts were difficult. And he's had a couple losses at 145. Now he's like, these guys are big. I need to start really cutting weight heavily to, have a chance. But those weight cuts don't get easier, I think, at this age is one of my concerns. So, but other than that, Douglas Silva de Andrade, 26-4. That's a tremendous record. You really can't hate on that for the Brazilian 5'7", 68.5-inch reach. Did come off of a loss to Lerone Murphy, though. I mean, he wasn't at all completely decimated in that fight. Before that, he did fight Renan Barão, albeit at 145. And before that, he was back at bantamweight. And, I mean, he had a pretty competitive fight with the current champion, Peter Yan. I said current champion, Peter Yan.
Yep, I did. Target.
Huh?
I said Rob Font's not an easy target. He's not the current bantamweight champ, but he's a tough competitor too. Yeah,
and then his loss to Peter Yan, not at all anything to be ashamed of. It was a doctor stoppage actually, so it was a pretty competitive fight before that though. I think Douglas Silva de Andrade should have this one though. He's just got such an experience edge. And it really just comes down to, unless the cut is absolutely horrible on him and turns him into like a zombie, he's got this one all day. I think the finish comes inside of a round and a half. For either guy, frankly, I think this ends inside of 2 rounds. I think Gaetano gets a KO if he gets this out over, and I think Douglas Silva de Andrade gets a KO. So either way, I mean, Douglas Silva de Andrade, 26-4. He knows how to win. He's faced the who's who in the UFC. He's one of the most underappreciated guys, I think, frankly, in the entire company. So I think they gave him quite a gift here against Gaetano. I like Douglas Silva. I'm just waiting to bet him until I see his condition after weigh-ins.
Are you waiting? Is that the bunny cue?
Oh, yes. Go ahead. Your thoughts. Sorry.
I interrupt all the time. I get too excited.
No, you don't. You're fine. Go ahead.
I get way too excited. And Brandon comes in with the shit that I have written on my clipboard, so I got to beat him to it sometimes because otherwise he'll have.
I get it. Yeah. Your thoughts.
Yeah. Why do I feel like every Brazilian fighter has like 50 fights on their record? I feel like every Brazilian fighter.
It's a lifestyle.
It is seriously a lifestyle. I have Douglas easily by KO. I'm not sure what round. Not to discredit Gustavo, but I'm going with Brazil on this one. He's experienced. He's technical. He's fun to watch. He has a lot. He's experienced. He has experience against Yan, who is like, he'll teach you what you need to know in a win or a loss. So right. I'm going with him. And you know what? He rocked Yan a few times in that fight. I don't know if you watched it, but he got him a couple times. That right hook is something fucking fierce.
I don't know if you watch. How dare you? How dare?
I'm talking to the crowd, man. Brandon didn't know he lost to Rob Font, but
yeah, well,
So his jabs,
little shade at Brandon,
and his straight rights are fucking scary. I'm going Douglas. I'm going with the KO. I don't know what round. Lock it.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. Currently, Douglas Silva de Andrade is a -250 favorite. I think that rightly so. Gaetano Perello does not belong in there with him, honestly. Yeah, and so we're back on, the agreement train for one fight at least. Good to be there. But yeah, Gaetano, tough go of it with Ricky Simone and Douglas Silva de Andrade being your first two fights. If you get cut after that, that's pretty rough. But we're finally out of the 135 division, men or women. We're on to the lightweight division here. 155 fight going down here between Jamie Malarkey, one of the funniest names of the UFC, taking on Devontae Smith. This should be a really interesting fight, especially after these guys' last two fights. Malarkey, 27 years old, going on 50 by the looks of his face, but 6 foot tall, 74-inch reach. So he is the taller guy here, but he has a shorter reach. Taking on Devontae Smith out of Englewood, 28 years old, 5'9", 76-inch reach. So he does have a 2-inch reach advantage, even though he's 3 inches shorter.
Not the football player, Brandon. Not the football player.
And yeah, not Devonta Smith, Devontae Smith. 11-2 for Devontae. Kincaid's 28 years old. He is out of Factory X Muay Thai, good gym, coming off a win against Justin James, where Justin James bet against himself and did not come out on top. Justin James got taken down by Devontae in this fight. He got outstruck by him. Devontae just showed an all-around game that he hadn't really shown prior to this. Did lose to Kama Worthy, who Jamie Malarkey beat in his last fight. Kama Worthy was coming in on very short notice. Devontae Smith and him had trained together before, and I think Devontae has kind of admitted he's learned a lot from that fight. But either way, Devontae has been knocked out in both of his losses into not great strikers. John Gunther is a horrendous striker, formerly on The Ultimate Fighter. I could not believe that he was knocked out by John Gunther. That is really a sign of a terrible chin on Devontae Smith's side. And then to be knocked out by Kama Worthy. Kama Worthy hasn't exactly had a stellar UFC career and got knocked out in the first round by him pretty cleanly. So I've got questions about Devontae Smith's chin that might never be able to be answered. Jamie Malarkey just got a 46-second knockout of Kama Worthy in their last fight. Malarkey is a sneaky hard hitter. He looks like he doesn't hit hard, but that dude has some serious pack to his punches. Had a rough start to his UFC career. with a close loss to Faris Siam, as well as getting who was that in his first fight? Brad Riddell. Yeah, Brad Riddell. He had a decision loss too. So again, he has been finished twice early on in his career. Once to Alexander Volkanovsky. So no shame there.
The Australian Fighting Championship. How fucking cool is that?
But I mean, yeah, Malarkey's finished Malarkey's finished all but one of his opponents here. This is one I initially was circling Devontae Smith and moving forward, and the more I've looked into it, the more I've started to lean towards Jamie Malarkey. I gotta go with Devontae Smith though.
Yes!
It's been back and forth. It definitely has, and I think a lot of people think Devontae Smith is KO or bust. I think Devontae Smith takes a very good decision win here. What I liked out of his last performance was the showing of the grappling, the well-roundedness, the ability to get into the second round and get the finish, still having that striking power, the speed, and everything. I think he's going to have to use that here, be smart in the first round. Malarkey, 7 of 13 finishes in round one. He's a sneaky good finisher, but yeah, absolutely. I like Devontae Smith here. I think this is a close fight though, so bettors beware. And I don't know if it's a decision or a finish. I'm leaning towards a decision though.
I like when I have a ridiculous pick that you agree with, Aaron. This one I was like, there's no way Smith is going to get this. But for some reason, I'm fucking picking Devontae Smith. And I have it written on the fucking clipboard.
Oh, you don't think that a lot of people are going with Devontae?
I thought a lot of people were going with Malarkey because
okay.
They both have a lot of round one finishes on their record.
Yeah.
I think, but they also have they have a lot of round one being finished. So
right.
I think it's fucking dope that Malarkey has a loss and like fought against. I think it was in 2016. Yeah, 2016. I think that's a cool fight, him against Volk, but that was a long time ago. And I don't know, they're the same exact age. Something tells me that I think that Smith is gonna power three is gonna take a little bit more damage. I think it is gonna be one of those round one finishes. I'm going Smith by round one finish, and I wrote it down. We'll see how it goes. I don't bet,
okay,
but I wrote it down. Yeah. We missed Bryan too, Brandon.
Yeah, sorry he's being a good father. But yeah, Devontae Smith, mine is 155 favorite currently.
Really?
With well, let me make sure those are updated. Yep, minus 155 plus 130 on Jamie Malarkey. Yeah, I think that it's a properly lined fight. I'll say that much. But
Elliot
and clipboard is full of truths. There's only truth on that clipboard, nothing but the truth. And just a heads up here, going into this next fight, this is probably my stake fight of the night, if I'm being honest. And I'm sorry it's another women's fight. It is at 135. It's between two Brazilians, so maybe that will add a little bit of spice. Carol Rosa versus Betch Cohea. Yeah. I just think that this is going to be Carol Rosa kind of all day in this one, if I'm being honest. Betch Cohea is somehow keeping her job in the UFC for one more fight. 38 years old, out of Brazil here, 11-5-1, fighting out of the Pitbull brothers. We'll take a look at her last few here. And just real quick heads up, I'll have to go grab my charger real quick in between as you make your pick here. So I will just...
Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, no, don't worry. You'll take care of everybody here in a second, but I'll get my breakdown out of the way. I just don't want to die here, but yeah. Betch Cohea lost her last fight to Pani Kianzad, who lost in her last fight as well. Didn't look great. Betch somehow got a win over Sajara Eubanks, but besides that, has lost 5 of her last 7. Her wins being a split decision over Jessica Ai and a decision over Sajara Eubanks. Lost a draw, or had a draw against Marianne Renault. Lost to Holly Holm, Irene Aldana, Raquel Pennington, and Ronda Rousey. It's just I don't really know what else to say about Betch Cohea. I've never been a big fan. She's got a good counter hook, but that's about it. She's tough to be put away, but has been submitted and has been KO'd inside the octagon. Carol Rosa, 14-3-1 for the Brazilian out of Vale Tudo Parana. She's on currently a 3-fight win streak. I believe in the UFC, she's won 3 straight. And there we go. And those 3 coming over Laura Picapio, Vanessa Mello, and Jocelyn Edwards. Jocelyn Edwards has looked pretty decent. All been decisions. Has good, just good volume, good movement, good overall jiu-jitsu. She's very well-rounded, won 5 straight overall. 26 years old. She's just coming into her prime. She should be able to cruise here over Carol Rosa. Yes. Carol Rosa all day. And this one, probably by decision again. But I'd like to see it. It'd be great to see a finish shot, Carol Rosa, just because she has shown she can piece it together. But I think she just fights a smart fight against the veteran Brazilian here, Betch Cohea.
Did you just pick the 38-year-old over Rosa?
No, I picked Rosa.
Okay, all right. I don't know if I heard you wrong. I'm like, are you sure about that?
Oh, you heard me wrong. You heard me wrong.
38. I don't know if I remind to do that.
No. She's 38 and moves like a 48-year-old.
Yeah, okay, all right. I want
very slow movement from Betch Cohea.
Okay, yeah, Rosa all day. All right.
Rosa all day by decision. Yep. I'm going to literally be right back, but give your thoughts on the fight and then talk to the people.
He left at the worst possible fight, but yeah, I also have Rosa by decision, and I don't even know how this matchup. I don't know why they made this matchup. How is this 5th on the prelim? Is what I want to know. But yes, Justin, I don't know what the fuck. You said always bet against Beth. Yes, that is correct. No disrespect. I love the Brazilians. This is 2 Brazilians. But bro, you left me alone on the Rosa Beth fight.
I know. I choose the best time. I'm known for my timing.
There's nothing else to talk about here, Aaron.
And so your thoughts on why you're picking Betch Cohea?
I'm not picking Beth.
You're not picking the 38-year-old Brazilian?
Who would be picking her right now? No,
I'm just making sure I heard you right.
Oh, did you notice Taco's in the comments?
I did see Taco. He shows up for the bunny. Taco, good to see you, dude. Rosa. So Rosa, easiest parlay piece on the card. I wouldn't completely disagree with that. The only problem is minus 550 favorite. Carol Rosa is, so you're definitely paying for it against a girl in Betch Cohea who's won a couple close split decisions she wasn't supposed to win, a couple close decisions. I do remember when I broke down her against Sajara Eubanks, I had Sajara Eubanks as a huge parlay piece, and she ended up winning a decision. So Carol Rosa has a split over Laura Picapio. We saw how King Casey O'Neill looked against Laura Picapio. So not everybody's King Casey, though. But minus 550, steep price there. I'm not crazy about it, honestly, in a ton of parlays just because it's not going to make a huge difference. And if your parlays are busted on minus 550, you're going to wonder why you added it. So add it to some. I wouldn't add it to all, though, just for that price there. But we mentioned King Casey O'Neill. We mentioned one Shevchenko earlier. We're moving on to the next one. This is our first 125 bout of the night. A lot of 135 fights. 4 of the first 5 are at 135 pounds in the men or women's divisions. But we're at 125 here for an outstanding flyweight fight here between Antonina Shevchenko and King Casey O'Neill. King Casey O'Neill, we're huge fans of her on this podcast. We bring her up pretty much as often as we can, even in fights that have nothing to do with her. I'm not going to make this too much about me, but, I knew from the first time I watched tape of Casey O'Neill that I was going to be a huge fan of her for a long time. I reached out to her on an old channel I was on, actually on Fight Bananas back when I was on there. and interviewed King Casey O'Neill before she was signed into the UFC. And first of all, her nickname is King, not Queen. I just think that tells you everything about her right off the bat.
She's got it tatted on her fucking arm. King
Yeah,
Casey.
she's just about this life, man. She's just a very, very determined fighter, training out of Elite XC, and she is. You will see her in the back of other. Go ahead.
What other FC?
Well, no. What? Wait, what?
What FC did you say? Because she's trains out of another FC. What other FC does she train out of?
Sorry, Extreme Couture. I always do that. I say Elite XC. I meant Extreme Couture. So she's training out of Extreme Couture. She has trained in the past out of Tiger Muay Thai. That's actually where I first noticed King Casey O'Neill was like in the back of other fighters, like Instagram stories. I'd see this girl like going at it, whether it was sparring, weightlifting, grappling. It was just, this girl was a savage in the back. I was like, who is this girl? King Casey O'Neill goes as king, not queen. I think that tells you kind of everything about her attitude. She's had, I believe, 3 talk-off KOs where she's literally telling the ref that the fight's over, and then the ref's like, you're right, I need to stop this. She's an absolute savage. She's getting very better everywhere. I just think this is a tremendous opportunity for her in this fight. But I'll break her down now, but not making a secret out of this. Huge fan of Casey O'Neill, and there's very few fighters I'm picking against her that she should be fighting at this point in her career. And I think 7-0, she has a lot of room to grow. But yeah, 12 straight wins, including her amateur career. She got knocked out in her first 2 amateur fights of her career, which I think is a fantastic actual sign. So like the fact that she came back from that adversity, got that check very early on. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's what the amateur careers for. 23 years old at this point, 5'6", 69-inch reach, training with Eddie Bracco out with Extreme Couture. And she is definitely getting in those rounds. She's been at Tiger Muay Thai early on in her career. Laura Picapio, she absolutely put on a clinic against before getting the standing rear naked choke in the 3rd round and putting her to sleep. Ground and pound, Shayna Dobson. Shayna Dobson had a huge win against in her prior fight against Aragopo. So, I mean, just like, again, these are wins over legit opponents. Everybody she's being put in front of right now, she's either ending up with ground and pound rear naked chokes or getting the decisions. She really doesn't seem to gas. Antonina Shevchenko has good technical stand-up, and that's like about it, honestly. The rest of her game doesn't really impress me. She got absolutely tooled up in the grappling by Andrea Lee in their last fight, which is just kind of telling. Roxanne Modafferi also did that to Shevchenko. And I think Casey O'Neill pins her to the ground and beats her face in and gets a TKO. I think she knows she can get the submission, and I think by the 3rd round, if the strikes and ground and pound hasn't gotten the job done, I think then she submits her. But I do think she kind of plays with it. She can kind of choose her finish here. I do think a finish is coming, though. I think Casey O'Neill just crowds her, does not allow the distance and movement. We're at the UFC Apex. That's a smaller octagon as well. Casey O'Neill was made for the smaller octagon. Not having that space for Antonina is only going to do her more detriment. One of my most confident picks on the card here, Casey O'Neill. And I'm going to say by TKO. Round number 2.
I couldn't agree. I couldn't wait to talk about this fight because
please give me your thoughts. I know that you can even echo them, but your thoughts. Why are you like a huge fan of Casey? Because you came to her on your own.
I mean, Casey is about to go 8-0. This is the most confident pick I think I've ever had. There's no question, and nothing against Shevchenko. She's great, but this is a mismatch. Casey has no fear. She is a savage on the ground, on the hands, in sports, in life. This girl is the most determined, dedicated, hardworking fighter I've ever seen. She's going to be a champion one day. Watch. She's young. She's hungry. She's about to go 8-0. Elliot is like determined on calling her Australian. Her parents were born in Australia, but she's Scottish, and her parents were
she's got that Scottish accent still. And the other part is
eyes and a Scottish face. She's Scottish. I know.
And the other part is she's got the scariest, like, dead killer eyes I've maybe ever seen in the sport. Like, she like just is not fucking around. She is.
Also, she used to. I don't know if you know about Kyle Reyes, who just passed away. It was like a really tragic story. She was very good friends with Kyle Reyes, and they sparred. She would pick him up and like fucking. She would own him, and Kyle was not taking it easy on her. She is not afraid. She's not afraid. She feels no fear. That girl is determined. I'm psyched to see her fight in Vegas. She's unbelievable. She's going to put on a serious performance, and I think it's going to be a brutal KO. I think she just sees blood in her eyes. Like she smells her opponent's fear. She's going to go after it. I'm really it'd be cool if she gets a sub, but I think that she's just going to get a hammer fist KO. She's going for it, and you did too, Elliot. Also, real quick, shout out to Dapper Media, very big supporter of me and the show.
Yeah, and, appreciate it.
Calls me the GOAT is the GOAT in my book, so thank you.
Well, there's a lot of goats in Bunny's book then, because she's called that often. Casey O'Neill -220 favorite. I think that's a spectacular price for parlays. I think it should be about double that. I really do. -220, I do think is just based on her facing a Shevchenko, plus 175 Antonina I love the price on Casey. The price is right. Again, there won't be any timestamps tonight, everybody. I have just no way of writing them down. I'm with family. So Brandon. After this. Relax. So Brandon, again, I have my messages open, Brandon. Your girlfriend hasn't blocked me yet. So you could have just sent me a message instead of writing in the comment on the last one to bring to the attention of other people that there were no timestamps, but
he's like, no, I'm gonna call you out all your followers.
Like it's like I can't message him and be like, hey, is there timestamps? Or hey, listen to the episode and I said 3 times. But that's Brandon for you. Hey, you look just like this other Latino that's not from your country. Let me say it anyways. There's just so many. There's just so many, Brandon. Good fucking Lord. I love you, but Jesus Christ.
Jonas, and he was like, you look really sick, man.
Yeah. He's just like, you look like you had a terrible weight cut. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, kid. We love you, but...
He said timestamps.
Yeah, I just gotta leave it up there for the rest of the time. Next fight here. This is one that I have a little less of a hard opinion on. Joe Selecki, lightweight fight here. Joe Selecki versus Jared Gordon. Joe Selecki 11-2, 5'9", 70.5-inch reach, taking on the 5'9", 68-inch reach, 17-4. Jared Gordon. This is a pretty close fight, in my opinion, and one that I'm not going to be betting too heavily. Jared Gordon, 17-4. I'll be breaking down first. Currently on 2-fight winning streak. Henzo Gracie Academy, fought in February of this year, and also is fighting on Sanford MMA right now as well. Sanford, one of the best camps. Ended up getting a very impressive decision win over Danny Chavez. Danny Chavez also missed weight in that fight, so they made it a catch weight of a 150 fight, but I think Jared Gordon was ready to make 145. Has a win over Chris Fishgold as well. Good grappler at 145. Did lose to, that's a weakness against the Brazilians. Lost to Diego Ferreira by knockout. Lost to Joaquin Silva by knockout. Lost to Charles Oliveira by knockout. So seems to be a little bit of a weakness, but yeah, he's a pretty good overall fighter, pushes a good pace for the most part. At 145, was able to push a good pace, should be able to push an even better pace. Moving up to 155 here, but we haven't seen him at 155 in the UFC. Joe Selecki has looked pretty good in his last few, 11-2, 28 years old, fighting out of Jimmo in North Carolina. Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu. I know Brian Battle's gotten to roll with him at points too, so has good things to say about Mr. Selecki. Fought in April of this year. We miss you, Brian. Fought in April this year, taking on Jim Miller. Put on a pretty good just overall clinic, getting a decision win. Got a really impressive rear naked choke over Austin Hubbard, a tough guy to finish who's faced a lot of grapplers. Looked good in the Contender Series, got the guillotine choke, tooled up Matt Weinman. I think based on what I've seen, I think based on what I've seen,
he looks like a goat, Justin.
Thank you very much, Bunny. Defend me, protect me. But yeah, I think that Joe Solecki should be able to do what he's done so far in his UFC career. Uses dominant grappling. I think it's another decision here, but I just think that the size and the grappling advantage should go to Solecki. Jared Gordon, if he really can push the pace at 150. What are you laughing at?
Me?
What up, Alec? What up, Alec? Good to see you. Yeah. It is true. Technology is amazing. Joe Solecki by decision here. Uses his grappling, gets it done.
I love when we agree on shit, Aaron.
So what's your
decision? But I didn't really have.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's strong. His conditioning is tight, but it's like he said noob. I don't know. Solecki started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at what, 6?
He's that's fair. I think he could be one of the better grapplers in the division too.
I love grappling, but
and with Jared Gordon coming up from 145, 150, I just think this is a bigger guy at the lightweight division. Gonna be tough. I got Solecki here. I liked him on the Contender Series. I actually picked against him on the Contender Series. I remember I picked Jamie Wallace or whatever his name was. Yeah, and really regretted that. So, not the first time I've been wrong, not the last time. Solecki is only a -140 favorite. I'm pretty surprised here at those odds. I think Jared Gordon, I haven't seen him at 155, but I just think Solecki's pretty rock solid here. Good to see you, Alec. Always good to see Alec. Alec's a good guy. Great out of Houston, Texas.
So I don't interrupt you because I like.
Oh no, you're fine. I don't care. It's just sometimes I'm on the other screen, so I can't see you, so I don't know when you're talking.
So let me I'll crowdsource. You keep killing it. They're here to listen to you anyways. I'm just here. I'm like
they're here to listen to both of us. This is both of our shows. But we do agree again. -140. I think that's good. You can do him solo there. I like him by decision, so I would bet Solecki by decision. But I think it's a parlay piece as well. I know that Brandon's got Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon is a great underdog. He can come in a lot of spots. He's only lost to really elite competition for the most part, aside from Joaquin Silva. Joaquin Silva's not elite, but the other two, Diego Ferreira and Charles Oliveira, can't really get much better than those guys. So, but I think Solecki is just kind of that up and up, 28 years old. He's getting better. Grappling wizard, Harry. So we're going with him. Yeah, was it Harry? I've never even seen one of those movies. I'm such a poser.
You've never seen Harry Potter?
I've never seen any of them. I got called Harry Potter. So I got called Harry Potter on the basketball court way too much as a kid. Like I used to play in like downtown Lansing, and they'd be like, "Look at this Harry Potter looking motherfucker coming on this fucking court." I'd be like, "Fuck Harry Potter." It was just like deep-seated childhood drama that kept me away from Harry Potter. Yeah. Elbow cough is what it says on my screen, by the way, Miz, but I know it's the.
I don't get it. Can someone explain that to me?
It's a dab. Oh, Thamaris.
That's so dumb.
Look at Thamaris. I love it.
Dab somewhere else. I'm perching.
Okay, well, after you're done perching, take a look at Thamaris's nice comment to you.
Oh, I love you, girl. She's the only girl to ever be nice to me. She's so sweet. All right,
there's a few. But 150. I'm moving on. Producer Bunny. I'm moving on. To 155. We're on the main card here now. Mike Breeden taking on Anthony Hernandez here. In a fight at 155. Late notice replacement here, and Mike Breeden, 10-3 out Glory MMA, 32 years old, 5'10", 70-inch reach. Coached by James Krause over there with Glory, 2-fight win streak since losing a decision on the Contender Series to Anthony Romero. Has a flying knee KO of Brandon Jenkins on an LFA card. That was very impressive, though. knee finish of Ken Beverly and Nick Compton, a decision in his last two, fought in May of this year before getting the short notice call up. One of his early losses was to Lucas Clay, who's a guy who's about to be in the UFC very soon, in my opinion. So, few losses of very good opponents. I think this is a decent short notice of opponent to approach for Breeden. I don't think Alexander Hernandez is that great. I said Anthony Hernandez, my fault. Alexander Hernandez is that great. I really don't rate him that well. I just think Breeden's kind of a dog. Like 8 of 10 finishes in his 10 wins, 5 first-round finishes, 2 third-round finishes. So really keeps it going. James Krause. And I just think there's certain guys that I would be willing to take short notice fights against that are a little higher profile fights. And Alexander Hernandez, to me, is a higher profile fight that I would be willing to take on short notice, because I think if Alexander Hernandez wins this, he probably does put him away in the first round. But honestly, I just think that Alexander Hernandez kind of looks like the same guy, even though he's gone out of Mark Montoya with Factory X now. But yeah, it's 16 fights versus 13 fights, so not a huge disadvantage in the experience. Obviously, Alexander Hernandez has fought with the UFC for a little bit of time, but got pretty dominated against Thiago Moises, got knocked out by Drew Dauber. He did knock out Chris Grutzmacher and Trinaldo, but again, got his ass whooped by Donald Cerrone. Looked good against Aubin Mercier. But yeah, I mean, he's shown he can be finished before Mike Breeden could finish this fight. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave this one alone from a betting perspective, and I'll take Alexander Hernandez to get the first round finish, but I would love to see Breeden get the upset, frankly.
Cool. I love upsets. You know me. I've got hot. I'm mostly hot takes here. I didn't have a pick for this one though. To be honest, I had plenty of notes. I think that Breeden's a little bit more patient than Alex. From what I saw, he's a little bit more hesitant to just go forward and strike, whereas Alex is just he's pretty. I don't know. He's got a lot of numbers behind his punches. He does have Alex, has a lot of losses to some bigger names, which I'm always impressed with. And like you said, Cerrone back when he fought him wasn't necessarily out of his prime. A win over Dariush, that's pretty sweet for Alex. Beneil Dariush is
42 seconds though, and on short notice, just came in and
still though, Beneil is pretty.
Still count.
You can't. 42 seconds. That does. Yeah. All right. That changes.
Yeah, we just don't know. I mean, you still have to be able to finish. I mean, he landed the punch needed to win. So, it's not a.
It's a fancy KO where you're like.
It's not a round 2. It's not a round 3 finish, and it was on, I believe, 5 days' notice where Beneil was preparing for. But again, he got the finish with Beneil, still counts.
He did. I also do really like factory Muay Thai. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the sound that Alex makes when he's just constantly going every time he punches. So it bothers me. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Can you do that again?
Alex, I'm going with Alex. I said I wanted the crowd to help me out. I'm going with Alex. I have no idea how this is not a fight I'm super excited for. Mainly, this is lightweight, right? Lightweight?
Lightweight, yes.
Yeah, I got my favorites on lightweight. I'm not really interested in seeing any new names in there, really. So this is... I know it sounds shitty. I get it. There's no method to my madness, but I'm going with Alex because of Miz.
What is with the discrediting of your? There's complete method to your madness.
There's no method. It's chaos up here all the time. Pure passion and chaos. But
that is a method. Alexander Hernandez, a minus 550 favorite. Pretty crazy to me. Breeden getting completely discounted here at plus 380. Just take a little sprinkle on Breeden, maybe win an underdog bet here. Otherwise, I would leave it alone or bet Alexander Hernandez round 1. I do think it's round 1 or bust for Alexander as well. But yeah, it's kind of a weird opener. It was obviously a short notice replacement in Mike Breeden, but we'll see. Next fight, we haven't had enough 135 fights, so give us another one. 135, Aspen Lad versus Macy Shaizan. This is
How
the
many
most
135
130. Yeah, they should call this UFC 135.
No, seriously. Come on.
Because this is
It's all
another
women.
bantamweight. Yeah, take a shot every time they say bantamweight and you're going to be drunk. Just by that. Like, I mean, that is insane. But this is a fight that's been rescheduled a couple times. Aspen Lad versus Macy Schezon. 9-1 versus 7-1. I'm really excited for this fight. I think this fight's kind of gone under the radar. But 5'6", 66-inch reach for Aspen Lad, 5'11", 72-inch reach for Macy Shaizan, fighting out of Fortis MMA. Macy Shaizan, I'll be breaking down first here. 7-1 for the Ultimate Fighter winner. 5'11", 72-inch reach. Again, fighting out Fortis MMA now. Great gym. Really kind of been on the up and up for quite a while here. I like that she's fighting out of there. I think there were some issues. I believe it was with an injury for Macy's back on the day of fight night. So they did have to reschedule this. Coming out 2 straight wins against Shayna Young and Marianne Renault. Only loss coming to Lena Landsberg, which honestly, the way Lena Landsberg fought Macy Shaizan, I think Aspen Lad can fight her pretty similarly. So if Macy has not made any adjustments and just continues to kind of think size and bullying and power is going to be enough to get by, Aspen Lad's going to be ducking under those punches and putting her onto her ass and taking a decision here. I, however, kind of think that Macy Shaizan has made a lot of adjustments here. I think there's a huge size advantage in this fight, both reach and just overall size. And Aspen Lad had been off for a while with the ACL, MCL injuries. She has come back from them, but didn't really look that explosive to me in her return. I think this is a really close fight. I think it ends up going to distance. And I think that the size and reach could be a difference. Cage control could be an advantage for Macy. She's got to stay off of her back, though. Aspen Lad, 9-1, coming off a win against Yana Kunetskaya. That really didn't make me that confident in her. Yana was kind of giving it to her in that fight. And yes, Aspen came out in the 3rd round after the spirited kind of coaching and got the finish, and that's great to see. But to kind of have to rely on them against Yana Kunetskaya at 135 is concerning for me. I'm going to go ever so slightly with Macy Shaizan here. I just think that Fortis MMA is going to have her really ready. She seems really focused coming into this one. I don't know if it's going to be a finish. I will go towards decision because I do think it's just very close. But yeah, I got Shaizan by decision. This is an underrated fight here. I think this is a really good fight, frankly.
Honestly,
And
I was worried you were going to call this a steak fight, and I have that written down on my notes. I'm like, make sure to count him. It's not going to be a steak fight.
No. I think this is a really highly competitive fight. I think sometimes I question why they keep rematching fighters together who kind of had their fights canceled. This one I really get. We're going to learn a lot about both these fighters. They're similar in experience, but you'll see when they kind of face off, there's such a size advantage for Macy Shaizan here, and I think she's getting better as an MMA fighter. I think she learned a lot from that Lena Landsberg fight, and I don't think she repeats those errors. So give me the dog in Macy Shaizan.
Macy's a dog?
Indeed.
See, my heart just rolls with the dogs before I even know the odds. That's what I love about it. I like to see animosity. There is a little bit of animosity between Lad and Macy where, Aspen was talking some shit about Macy having to pull out, and Macy was like, dude, as a fighter, you should realize, like, you can't fight injured. So there is a little bit of unfinished business between the two of them, which is the only reason why I think it'll go to a finish. I bet, once again, I know I say that every time, but that's important to whether you're going to listen to my pick or Aaron's. But I'm going with Macy because I think she has a little bit more power than Aspen, and I think I think she's got something to prove. Yeah, that's really all I have. She escaped that armbar, by the way, by that tight armbar by Penne. Macy did, and then she came back and got the sub finish herself, which was fucking exhilarating to watch. So I really got jazzed up when I faced her after watching that. But it's going to be a good fight either way. And I'm not really super attached to either fighter. So it's a win-win fight for me. But I am going to go with Macy with the finish.
Yeah. All right.
It's my baby girl.
I love it. We're all three of us are on the same track here. Interestingly enough, Aspen Lad, a -265 favorite. One of the heavier favorites on the card. Plus 210 on Macy Shaizan.
Why does it roll like that? I don't like Vegas.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's really interesting. I think those odds are way off. I got to bet Macy. Even before I was leaning her, I would have bet her. But now, definitely I'm leaning towards Macy here. I think that we haven't completely had our answers on Aspen Lad's condition coming off of both their knees being blown out and the size at 135. I think it's going to be tough. So we'll see. Next fight here. We're out of the 135 division, so let's all celebrate for that. We're up to middleweight here, 185. We put on 50 pounds. And we've got a very interesting fight here. Misha Sirkanov taking on Christoph Jotc here. Poland versus Latvia by way of Ontario, Canada. Toronto. Christoph Jotc, I'll be breaking down first, 22-5 for the Polish fighter. Polish power, not quite for this one. He isn't really known for his power. 32 years old, 6'1", 77-inch reach, fighting out of Planet Eater Gym.
I beat you to it. I beat you to
it. Coming off a loss to Sean Strickland back in May of this year. Sean Strickland put it on him pretty heavily in that fight, I'll be honest. But Sean Strickland kind of on fire right now. Before that, wins over Eric Anders, which was a very impressive win. Marc-Andre Barreau, who's looked better and better, and Alan Amandovsky, all by decision. Prior to that, losses against Brad Tavares, Uriah Hall, and David Branch. So loses a few, wins a few. Is he in the middle of a losing streak again? We'll kind of see here. Jotc just he fights a lot of people very close. Decent striking, a better grappling. But yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, Jotc, he's just he's a technician. He's good. He's not great anywhere. He's not exactly dangerous. Of the two of these guys, Misha Sirkanov, I would much more describe as a dangerous guy here. Misha is a beast, was a beast at 205. I very curious to see how he gets down to 185 at 34, nearly 35 years old. 15-6 for the Extreme Couture Toronto representative. Also fights out of TriStar with Feroz's Hobby, George St Pierre, 6'3", 77-inch reach for the been a light heavyweight his whole career. So this is his first fight at 185. Definitely an X factor I want to see. And you'll see a pretty consistent thing with his finishes. His losses have all come in round one, and they've all come by strikes. Got knocked out in 28 seconds by Volkanovsky. Got knocked out in under 3 minutes against Glover Teixeira. Got knocked out in 35 seconds by Johnny Walker, and got knocked out in a minute by Ryan Spann. But also has solid wins. Nikita Krylov, he finished with a guillotine, finished an arm triangle of Jan Kutalaba, finished Jimmy Croup by Peruvian necktie, arm triangle of Cummins. All his finishes pretty much coming by submission as well. Had a head kick knockout back against Rodney Wallace in 2015. But other than that, he goes in there and smashes neck, jaw, crank. I mean, the guy is a super strong grappler. Finish or be finished type of guy. It's all about the weight cut, but yeah, I just absolutely think that Misha is going to be a beast at 185. I think one thing I listened to, I don't usually listen to a ton of interviews, but I listened to his media day interview today, where he talked about the weight cut to 185 and how it's forced him to eat cleaner, and he's now doing cardio 6 times a week, where before he was doing cardio hardly ever. And I think that's going to help him be able to fight longer and better. Sometimes when these fighters are forced to cut more weight, I think it is very unhealthy. I think this was a healthy move for Misha to get down to 185 here. I love Misha in this fight. I think he pushes the pace, pushes the pressure, and submits Christoph Jotc inside of 2 rounds.
Bro, I feel like Mercury must be in Gatorade or something right now because we're like really we're aligning up. Isn't that what the pumpkin spice girl said?
Yeah, that is exactly what the pumpkin spice girl said. That's you. That's you, Bunny. Basic Bunny.
Yeah, totally. We're gonna talk about that after the show.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the problem with Misha is we haven't seen a lot of him in the 3rd round, right? So how?
Yeah, no, he gets finished or finishes.
But in the same regard, Jotc, he's like explosive out the gate, but then totally fizzles. So.
But he wins all decisions.
But if you watch, and I'm talking about his power though. If you watch his power, he's explosive, and then he fizzles out. So it's not like he's finishing. He's not finishing these guys. He fizzles out. He comes out explosive. May go the distance, but that doesn't mean he's powerful. And I like grapplers. I'm going Misha. I'm also super biased towards Extreme Couture. I don't know if I've made that clear at all.
You have.
I don't be going Misha, but I will be going decision. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, decision.
Yeah. All right, you're going with Misha by decision. That would be his first decision in his career. That is
it'll be Jotco's like 9,000th decision loss.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We have the underdog here, plus 125 for Misha, minus 150. Minus 150 on Jotc. I think this line's way off. I love the dog here. I've already bet the dog separate.
Brandon's going Jotc.
I mean, he's going with the favorite here, so that's fair enough.
That's a sheet right there. You just look at his pathology record, and you were like, you know what? I'm gonna go with the most. Yeah, all right, Brandon, I see you.
Brandon, unblock Bunny.
Maybe you should unblock me on Instagram.
Yeah, you and Dana blocking Bunny.
I'm not even mad about Dana anymore. I've heavily gone after Dana. There's a reason he blocked me. Brandon, no reason.
Yeah, that is horrible. Reason. Yeah, like she was there for you when no one was there for you, man.
We won't even talk about that, but I was on your side. Right?
I can't believe it. You were. But yeah, next fight here. We're not in the bantamweight division for 2 straight fights, believe it or not. We're at 170 here.
Wait, is this our only welterweight fight? Oh no, there's another one. Sorry. Go ahead.
But this is a good welterweight fight between I think a combined like 12 kids between these two guys in Nico Price and Alex Oliveira. Like they have so many children, these two. Like have so many kids. Like they're so like that motivation is on both sides. Like all the kid, it's just on both sides here. And so I think this is an interesting fight for sure. I love Nico Price and Alex Oliveira. I really have respected him. 33 years old versus 32, 14-5 versus 22-10. Another Brazilian with 30 plus fights here. Alex Cowboy Oliveira, I'll be breaking down first. Alex Oliveira, 22-10-1, as I said. Hit a little bit of a rough patch here. Lost his last 2. But very good guys. Shavak Rakamanov got a guillotine choke and then the one-armed rear naked choke by Randy Brown. That was an incredible submission by Randy. Randy is crazy good. Alex has 3 baby mamas. Yeah, that is. Yeah. That is a personal problem, Alex. But whatever, no judgment here on the podcast. But he's definitely motivated. He's got bills to pay. Needless to say, last 2 wins coming a split decision against Max Griffin and then against Peter Sabata. Okay, like not great. His other 3 losses prior, Gunnar Nelson ended up getting a rear naked choke. Mike Perry and Dalby took decisions. So definitely you can push the grappling, push the pace, get Alex Oliveira tired, and you can submit him. And then with Nico Price, 14-5. For the hybrid, 32 years old, fighting out of Syndicate Boxing Club in Cape Coral, Florida, has lost his last 2 and then had a majority draw against Donald Cerrone where he just took so much damage, and that was in September of 2020. It's not really a great look against Cerrone, and then lost pretty handily decision where Michel Pereira just kind of outpointed him. He got stopped by Vicente Luque, took a ton of damage. He's been stopped by Luque twice now. Nico Price has taken a lot of damage. He's slowed a little bit down, I think, as he's gotten into his career. He doesn't quite look as big and kind of strong as he did early on. I've been kind of back and forth on this one. I'm going to lean towards Alex Oliveira. I just think he's going to be a little more crafty on the feet. I think the movement could really frustrate Nico Price, and I think that he's able to get on top with the grappling, possibly in the later rounds. But I think this is a banger for the first 7 minutes, and then I kind of wonder what happens. But I'm going to lean towards Alex Oliveira. Not my most confident pick at all of the night. I hope it's a good fight. But yeah, I got Oliveira.
All right. I don't want you to laugh at me, but this could be fight of the night, in my opinion.
Okay. I won't laugh at that. Why do you think?
I was shocked when I saw Nico Price had only, 19 fights professionally?
Yeah. I mean, I think he came into the UFC with 9 fights.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I thought I had a lot more fights. I think this is going to be a dope fight. I love Syndicate. I think that's a great camp. Nico Price is super entertaining to watch. He's always a fun watch. I just feel like I've seen so many more than fucking 19 fights. That's just weird. Yeah, Alex Oliveira is really good. He's experienced. He's Brazilian. I also don't really have a super confident pick on this fight. I'm really I feel like I win no matter what with this one again. I think for shit's sake, you said Oliveira?
Yes.
For the fuck of it, I'll go Nico Price because
I like it.
Forward to this brawl. I think it is going to be a brawl. I think it will be a finish. I think it'll be a late finish. I think these guys both have stamina. I just don't. I'm really super not confident in who's going to win this one, but I am super looking forward to this one. I think more so than a lot of other fights. So
that's great. No, it's really well matched up.
So
yeah, I wouldn't laugh at that. I totally respect that. Nico Price is the -185 favorite, plus 155 on the Brazilian. I'm taking the Brazilian here in Alex Oliveira. Just saying. But yeah, I got Alex Oliveira, Mrs. Alex Oliveira. Bunny. Yeah, Bunny, you got
just to have some opposition here. I have no dog in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. You only got one dog in the race. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna put myself on that ledge live on the podcast, and now I'm sweating. Co-main event. I don't know why I did that to myself. Speaking of sweating, we got an interesting co-main event here. I know for both of us for different reasons. Yeah. Kevin Holland taking on Kyle Dawkis. In this fight, this is at 185. I'll go ahead and tee it up here. Bunny. Yeah, no problem, Bunny. I got you.
On this fight.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'll go ahead and tee it up and get my full thoughts.
Go ahead and explain for me if you want, but I'm going to shut up on this one.
Yeah, sometimes we've got people who we're familiar with, and other times we don't. Kevin Holland, Trailblazer, taking on Kyle Dawkis. Kevin Holland, 21-7. This is his 29th fight coming into this fight, believe it or not. Does not quite fight like it at points, as has been a story of his last few fights, to say the least. 6'3", 81-inch reach. For the Fort Worth, Texas representative, Travis Luter, BJJ, weighed in at 183 for his last fight. He's kind of thought about going down to welterweight, which is pretty crazy to me. But Kyle Dawkis here, 10-2, out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Brother of Chris Dawkis, 28 years old and 7 months, 186 for his last fight, 6'3", 76-inch reach. So there's a 5-inch reach disadvantage for Dawkis, Martinez, BJJ. But yeah, Kyle Dawkis, mostly a grappler. So definitely goes in there, looks to get the fight to the ground, get the fight into scrambles. Coming off a decision loss against Phil Hawes, pretty close fight in that one. Wasn't a terrible performance. Looked really good against Dustin Stolfus and against Brendan Allen. That was a really good back and forth fight. Brendan Allen also has a win over Kevin Holland. So the similar opponent, I think Kyle Dawkis looked much better. Went back and watched his Contender Series fight against Michael Lombardo. Solid performance in that one. Honestly, the 3 Darce choke wins are definitely standing out over Jonathan Webb, a very solid opponent. Stephen Regman also fought on the Contender Series, similar frame to a Kevin Holland and Nolan Norwood. So rear naked chokes, Darce chokes, has another Darce choke as well. Went 5-5 as an amateur, so he lost a lot as an amateur, and that's what your amateur career is for. I just think that Kevin Holland has a certain type of approach that seems to be working against him, and it's when they push the grappling, push the wrestling, and that's what Kyle Dawkis is going to do from the beginning of this fight, throughout this fight. I think Kevin Holland's going to have to catch him and get his respect early on. If he does, turns this into a stand-up war. Kevin Holland takes this fight 9 times out of 10, though. But he's got to get the respect early and often. I am going to have to see it before I'll get convinced of it, if I'm being honest. Kevin Holland, coming into this fight, he looks very loose, very confident as always. 21-7 2-fight losing streak since going on that 5-fight run. But I don't mean to be a hindsight type of guy, but the 5-fight run was Anthony Hernandez, which it is what it is. Joaquin Buckley, who, had his moments in that fight before he got the finish, has split decision over Darren Stewart, who has now been cut. Charlie Ontiveros has been cut after failing a drug test, so really not that impressed. And Jacare Souza now is retired. Kyle Dawkis is not Derek Brunson. Kyle Dawkis is not Varvin Vittori. Kyle Dawkis can, I think, follow the same type of game plan of wrestling, repeat, keeping on top. I don't think that Dawkis gets a finish in this, but I think it's another wrestling decision for Kyle Dawkis. I think that 5-fight win streak is looking less and less kind of good by the day. It's not aging greatly. And I haven't seen indications here that Kevin Holland is taking any serious approach to adjusting the issues in his game. So I'm going to go with the dog here in Kyle Dawkis. Kevin Holland's still a favorite. I'm really surprised here. And I like Kyle Dawkis.
Brandon, I wasn't going to say anything. Sorry. Say your final pick. I wasn't going to say anything, but now I'm going to speak my piece. Go ahead.
Kyle Dawkins by decision.
Brandon. All right. I was literally not going to say anything on this fight.
Well, good.
Because Kevin Holland and I just got into a massive fight on Instagram over John Jones. So I didn't want to say anything, but all I'm going to say is that Kyle is a big fan of the Darce choke. I'm a big fan of the Darce choke. I'm not going to make a pick. I'm still mad at Kevin from that argument. We settled things on a good note, but I'm still mad. And I really like the Darce choke. And let's move on to the next fight. That's
good idea. Okay, fair enough. Good co-main event here. A very good fight. Kevin Holland, minus 155 favorite, plus 130 on Kyle Dawkis. I've already bet Kyle Dawkis at plus 130. Go ahead and send the money a little more Dawkis' way, and I'll keep betting Dawkis. But yeah, no more needs to be said about this fight. We're gonna move off of Kevin Holland. See you later, buddy. Go on to the main event here. This is not at 135, believe it or not. It's at 205, light heavyweight main event here. So sometimes they make these fights 5 rounds, and I'm like, you know what? You didn't need to make this fight 5 rounds. Thiago Santos and Johnny Walker.
Aaron, that could be another
if
show.
There's one,
needs to be 5 rounds.
Yeah, you can work on so many levels. But honestly, yeah, if there's one bet I like tonight, it's betting this fight to go under 4.5 rounds. This fight, I just think, lasts under 3 rounds most likely. Thiago Santos and Johnny Walker is about to be absolute war, absolute chaos for however long it lasts. But Johnny Walker, 29 years old, fighting out of Southampton, England, fighting out SBG Ireland. He fights all over the place, though, as a different fight team every camp. Taking on the now 37, nearly 38-year-old Brazilian in Thiago Santos, 6'2", 76-inch reach. Tata fight team, husband of Yana Kudnatskaya as well. So they've been training together leading up to this fight. 6-inch reach disadvantage right away stands out here for me, for Johnny Walker. Thiago Santos is a former 185 competitor as well before moving up to 205. Well, Johnny Walker is currently talking about how eventually he wants to move up to heavyweight. So I think that right here is a big, kind of a big factor in this fight. And Robot Chicken Wings, yeah, I agree. Jocko isn't a bitch. He did hit. But yeah, I mean,
What's up, Robot Chicken Wings?
Yeah, it's a little late, but yeah, I don't think Jocko's a bitch.
Show up.
Okay, I don't think Jocko's a bitch though. But yeah, either way, yeah, Johnny Walker talking about moving up to heavyweight eventually. Massive light heavyweight, but definitely chin issues. He's been knocked out by Corey Anderson, which yikes. He got rocked 2 or 3 times against Ryan Spann in that fight before winning that one in what was a really crazy 1-round war. Walker, to me, is one of the best at almost hitting the back of the head in the entire UFC. Several of his fights, you'll see he almost hits the back of the head. If not, he does hit the back of the head and doesn't get called for it. But, I mean, he's a wild man.
Come on.
Yeah, he's a wild man. 18-5 for the Brazilian here, Johnny Walker, 29 years old, 6'6", 82-inch reach. That's just massive. The Ryan Spann.
What is it, Eagle?
Yeah, it's insane. For 205, just insane. The Ryan Spann fight was wild for how long it lasted. Quick knockout of Misha Sirkanov. Quick knockout of Justin Ledet. When I mean quick, I mean 15-second knockout. And then he dislocated his arm against Khalil Roundtree after finishing with the elbows. So, yeah, I mean, he's looked really good. A lot of first-round finishes. Had a decision win on the Contender Series against Luis Henrique da Silva. So did show he can go to the distance. Has fought bigger guys like Stuart Austin, put them away. Yeah, I think that Thiago Santos kind of has what I call Alexander Gustafsson syndrome, which is when you have your best performance against John Jones, you give up everything in that performance. Thiago Santos maybe gave up more than anybody. Ended up blowing out both his knees against John Jones. Almost won against John Jones. Did not win against John Jones.
Nobody wins against John Jones, Aaron.
Right. But it was a price that Thiago Santos paid at over 35 years old by blowing out both his knees, that he came back against Glover Teixeira, and Glover Teixeira just kind of worked him. Use the takedowns. That's something that Johnny Walker's not going to do in this fight. So that is a factor, but wore down Thiago Santos and put him away. And then Alexander Rakic, I think, will use an approach that Johnny Walker could use similarly. Johnny Walker is aware this is a 5-round fight. I do think he tries to pace himself a little bit differently in this fight than normally. Maybe doesn't come out quite as crazily because he does need to avoid getting taken down by Thiago Santos. Thiago Santos is not really known for his wrestling, but that's what you need to do against Johnny Walker, is put him on his back and tire him out. We saw Nikita Krylov do that to get his win over Johnny Walker as well. I got Johnny Walker in this fight, though.
God damn it!
I think that Johnny Walker is going to use a lot of leg kicks in this fight, keep the distance that way. I think if Thiago Santos does look to shoot in, it could get really sloppy. On the feet, he can knock him out completely. Do not get me wrong. I could see a first-round knockout from Thiago Santos here. Honestly, I think Thiago Santos has a ton of power, ton of experience over very, very good fighters. Has a win over Jan Blachowicz. That was before his knees were blown out, though. And yeah, it's just, again, I just think that he's paid his price here with regards to Thiago Santos. I think Thiago Santos, 38 years old nearly now, 2 blown out knees, 5 rounds does not do him favors. Johnny Walker is massive. He's getting better. He does have chin issues again, so Thiago can put him away. But yeah, we are Fuji. We got a special couple fans.
Fuji, we don't care about the dislikes.
But yeah, it's all good. We just thank them for their view, and then they go on. But
Aaron and I know exactly who the only dislike on all the videos, so we're not worried about it. We know
it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, I definitely just think that I think Walker takes this fight. I think we see a different Walker than usual. I don't think it's a first round finish for Walker. I think maybe a third round finish. But I don't think this one goes 5 rounds either way. I think it could be a war. But yeah, give me Walker.
All right, this is a spite pick for me also. I mean, I'm sure some of these are spite picks. I've seen a lot of people online that I hate. I don't like using that word, that I very much dislike. Santos' knees are not good. Walker using leg kicks would be unnecessary. It'd be like pepper spraying someone's life. That is such a John Jones move, though. So Thiago
it's business out here. Walker is about winning that paper, man. I want to see a leg kick in the first 5 seconds. I can't
believe this is a 5-round fight. Did anybody double check? Are we sure it's a 5-round fight?
There's no reason for it to even be 3 rounds.
It doesn't need to, it should be.
We need like a round and a half. We need a round and a half, I think.
I think that's fucking hysterical. And while I think Walker is probably the better pick, I'm going Thiago out of pure spite. And because they're both Brazilian. So once again, this is a situation where I win both.
Brazil on Brazil crime here.
That's right. There's so many Brazilians on this card. I love it. Handpicked for Bunny. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of Johnny Walker. I'm not a fan of the way he plays the game. I don't like the way he acts. So I'm not a fan of Johnny Walker. I'm going Thiago Santos. And I don't fucking have. It's 5 rounds. I have no fucking idea how it's gonna finish.
Santos KO somewhere in there.
Sure. So 5 rounds.
Yeah, I was really surprised because I was expecting Johnny Walker to be the favorite in this fight. He's not.
Go dog.
Yeah. We got Thiago Santos as the favorite here. Thiago Santos is the favorite. Just pulling up the odds here, but last I checked, Thiago Santos was a -140 favorite, plus 125 on Johnny Walker. You're going to see in the standoff tomorrow, there's just such a massive size advantage. So, and I do think the power is with both guys, but yeah, going to get KO in a silly way, like watching. Justin, are you saying that who are you saying is getting KO'd here? Going to get KO.
Justin.
So, as in Walker's going to get the KO or going to get.
Just highlight his comment. Justin is known for being our shock jock.
I don't know. He's your turtle or whatever. I don't know. Like you guys are like you guys are in a turtle club together.
What's a turtle club?
I don't know. It's something Walker getting KO. Walker getting KO. It doesn't clear up anything. Walker getting KO as in getting KO'd or getting the KO?
Is he getting the KO or is he going to KO Santos?
Yeah, Walker. Yeah, we'll clear this up and then we'll say goodbye. Because
wait, can we real quick? You and I just did a 13-fight card in 1 hour and 42 minutes.
Which is that
record breaking?
Yeah, I can't believe how quick that was. We're like really getting efficient, and now we are to the best part of the card where.
What the hell is Josh Holland? Fucking welcome, my dude.
I don't know what monkey car means, but okay.
Doesn't matter.
Walker getting the F knockout. Santos is winning. Frowny
Suck my dick, Justin. Then suck my fucking dick. You know what, Justin? Oh my god.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna say goodnight for the night. For Aaron, the dog, for Bunny of Boston Comments.
You see, Thamiris is on my side.
Of course, Thamiris is on your side. There we go. That's good. Skip typing class. Wish you would have gone. Me too, Justin. But seriously, shout out to everybody. We've had over double-digit viewers throughout the entire stream. This is, I think, the first one we've had. I haven't checked the updated sub count, but I'm hoping to get close to 209 by the end of this week. But Justin, Thamaris, Miz, Many, Taj, everybody else, Brandon, and most importantly, Bunny, thank you for joining me on the breakdown. It was a fantastic breakdown to be joined by you. We got Bellator tomorrow, and then we've got Cage Warriors tomorrow as well. And no, I'm not jealous, Thamaris. It's okay. Bunny's better than me. Like, Bunny is
my number one baby.
Thamaris, do not worry. You are fantastic, but Bunny is better than me. So you made the right choice on who you align with. But honestly, enjoy the fights this weekend. We got Bellator and Cage Warriors tomorrow. Cage Warriors on Saturday with UFC. For Aaron, for the dog, and for everybody else. Have a great night, everybody. Keep cashing those bets.